What is going on, Fins Up Talk? Brand new day. Chad, I am feeling better, brother. After the that whole trade with Jaylen Waddle, man, I'm looking forward to the
Yeah.
draft more and more every single day. Listen, guys, Chad has some good stuff for you today. We're going to talk about the top five in each position on the offensive side of the ball for this draft. I hope you guys are ready. I am pumped. I am pumped up. I'm back to my optimistic self. How are you feeling today? How do you
Juan, I woke up not feeling great. So much better. Been able to get right. This migraine catching up with me, man. Watching a lot of film this weekend. But after watching our intro, I'm in the background just ready to go. I can't wait till we add to it. It's so exciting doing this pod with you, man, and seeing where we start from the episode one where it's grainy, we sound crazy, I sound crazy, to getting to where we're at now. And like you said, man, the draft brings joy and gladness, bro, that we as Dolphin fans unfortunately know all too well. So I'm super pumped. I'm not the tech guy, but your boy used some chat GPT, my man. You saw it. I'm excited. I'm excited to show some things on here. So, man, I'm excited to kick into it. Yes, before we close out the Jaylen Waddle chapter, I had to mourn this weekend because I love me some Jaylen Waddle. I've told you this one. He wasn't my wide receiver 1, 2, or even 3 in that draft. It was actually Devonta Smith and Jamar Chase 1A and 1B. I cheated on that one. I know, guys. I'm sorry. And I had Amon-Ra St. Brown third and Jaylen Waddle fourth because my type of receiver isn't typically under 6 foot, nor are they a speed demon and known for anything but catching. And not that Jaylen Waddle couldn't catch, but he did a lot of body catching. I know everyone's say, well, you had Amon-Ra St. Brown third. Well, yeah, I know he's not 6 foot, but he does the things that I appreciate the most, which you're going to see in the breakdown that I did of Carnell Tate and Mekhi Lemon, that translates to Sundays and it's sustainable. So I'm excited, bro. I'm super pumped to get this thing rolling. So, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, man, and I'm done mourning too. Jaylen Waddle. It's interesting. I heard after the trade came out, he made it a point to go back into the facility, shake everybody's hand. I also saw an interview with Teron Armstead. He was interviewing Bradley Chubb, which, as we all
Yeah.
know, is now part of the Buffalo Bills organization, and he had nothing but nice things to say about the Miami Dolphins. So I think that speaks volume to the type of organization that Stephen Ross is
Yep.
trying to run here, and I appreciate that. I listen. It's a full rebuild. It's a new day. I mourned it, but again, it's different. We have somebody new at the GM position, so I'm
Sir.
very excited. And I want to get us kicked off right away, Chad.
Let's go.
I know it's a little bit different, some of the top
Okay.
fives that we may have, but not a lot. I mean, maybe it's just
Huh?
one player off. And
Yep.
I like a lot of the names. I got a sneak peek. I cheated, guys, so I got a sneak peek. I saw the picks that Chad had in, and you guys are gonna love these breakdowns. But Chad, if we can, I want to ask you for you. Can we start with the receiver position first? That's the position that I'm most excited about.
Absolutely. Before you go, though, I saw Juan's like 30 seconds ago, and I didn't even look at it because he was showing me the formatting. So this is new to me. Juan and I are going to have similar because we've been talking draft since September. It was after week 1 after the Colts lost. So you're going to see similar names, but no, I'm pumped, man. Yeah, we can absolutely start a receiver given that to many draft analysts, like that's our top need. I don't agree with that, but I think that it's a huge need for us, and I think we're gonna leave with 2 of them. So yeah, kick it off, my boy.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Chad, do you have the graphic by any chance to share there on your
Yeah,
end?
let me see if you want me to do the full.
Yeah, yeah, the full. And audience, just wait till you see this. This is good stuff.
All right, I got it. I got it. Let me know when you can see it, my man.
All right, let's see here. All right, so we got it here, front and center.
Yeah, is this the one you were talking about, Juan?
Yeah, this is the one.
Okay.
This is it. This is what we want
Yes.
to see.
All right, so as you guys know, receiver is a position that year after year we are finding that more and more receivers are getting drafted in the first 2 days of the draft, and they're literally contributing right away. I think what's so exciting about that is and Juan, you and I have talked about this several times. We now have a front office that they're finding receivers and have been finding receivers in round 2 all the way down to round 7, year after year, decade after decade. The most exciting thing for me is, and I'm sure you've heard this, and if you haven't yet, I'll be the first to say it to you. John Eric Sullivan's dad was a receivers coach, highly touted receivers coach for the last 20 years. So this is a position that John Eric, that Sully himself is very, very familiar with. Everyone comes back to like, oh, well, the Packers took Matthew Golden in round 1 last year, and look how that worked out for him, right? What I will say is this. I have complete trust in this staff without knowing their history themselves, individually. I know the organization's history, but themselves, to find a receiver. What I will say comfortably is there's 3 guys on my top 5 that are going to be first rounders, with the 4th that I believe could sneak into the back end of the first round. But just because this is my top 5 wide receivers doesn't mean these are guys I think you're going to end up on the Dolphins. I will be very clear and concise when I talk about the receivers that I think that are going to be Dolphins. You and I have talked about this. I believe we are going to draft trenches in round 1 with both picks, whether it's offensive or defensive line. You may see a corner. And in round 2, I believe that player is either going to be another trench player, a corner, or a safety before we go receiver, unless you have a Jordan Tyson that falls. So I just want to preface by saying that. So, Juan, I can go down the list, or I want you to talk to me about what you kind of see when you see my top 5.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the top 5 right now. It's the same basically, just the arrangement of it. So I got Mekhi Lemon's my number 1. That's my number 1 receiver. And then Elijah Surratt, I'm big on Elijah Surratt. And I threw in a name in there that you actually brought up to me. And I got to give him his flowers, man. I saw his tape, and he has that dog in him. I went with Amari Cooper, number 5.
Yeah.
So it was Mekhi Lemon, Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Denzel Boston, and then Amari Cooper. That was my top 5. So it's a little bit inconsistent in my end because I did talk to you about Casey Concepcion, but we need a big receiver. And I appreciate this film, but one thing that I talked about is I want players that have that dog in them, that alpha, that edge.
Yeah.
And him creating all these TikTok videos and, some of the stuff that I see outside of the football field. Listen, he could still produce, right?
Yeah.
That's could be neither here nor there. But at the same time, this is the first draft that Sullivan is going to have, and I feel that you want somebody again that not only produces in the football field, but outside of the football field is doing the right things. So I got Mekhi Lemon number 1. Production just blew it out the water. You have somebody like Jacoby Lane playing opposite side of him, and he was able to get all the production still. And not only that, but the production that he was able to get playing against some of the top opponents. That's what really stood out to me. So I really do appreciate that. Carnell Tate, I do think he's a baller. I do think he's a very good player. That's just the difference maker for me. Jeremiah Smith, he is that cyborg. He is that guy. But he outshined them on the big games. And consistently, too. That's not to say if Carnell Tate is given the reins and he's now that number 1 guy, that he can't be that guy. Mekhi Lemon, Jacoby Lane, he took that from him. Jeremiah Smith took Carnell Tate's shine. Not by much because he's still a baller. So everybody knows who he is. And the highlight film was absolutely insane. But I just prefer Mekhi Lemon. Jordan Tyson, we know about the injury with him. Definitely appreciate his game. And I'm rambling here, man. You know what? Let me stop. This is your list, Chad, and you have
No,
the
no,
full
I
breakdown.
love
I'm
it.
excited, dude. I wanted to do this podcast more just to hear you talk. So, Chad, please give us the breakdown here, man.
Yeah, so I have a breakdown that I'll show of Carnell Tate, why I think he's wide receiver one. Um, for me, and I've talked a lot about this, there's a phrase you'll hear me say a lot. It's the eye in the sky don't lie. And all that means for scouting people. And I kind of said this in our first ever pod. I wanted to be a scout. I wanted to be a GM. I've gone to the scouting combine. I watch all 22, so I don't watch highlight tapes. The reason I'm big on that is because a highlight tape is going to show you exactly that. It's going to show all of their highlights. I want to see what they're doing when the ball's not going to them. I want to see their targets. I want to see how they are in the run game, especially for like a receiver. I want to see, again, when the ball's not going in the direction, are they selling their route? Are they running the same exact nuanced route the way that they would if the ball was coming towards them? Are they setting up properly? Meaning, if they are not the one, if they're the two, or if they're the three, or if they're even the fourth read, are they selling their route enough that in the event that it does need to go to them, they're ready? And then on the other side of that is you're selling the defense so that they are opening up other places. You'll hear a lot of when Tutu Atwell got signed here before we traded Jaylen Waddle, it was, well, Tutu Atwell is going to be a nine specialist. A nine, for those that don't know, it's a straight go route. You go, right? And a lot of times Tutu's going to just take over a shell defender. So you'll hear cover two nowadays. And I'm not going to try to get too nerdy here, but if you have cover two, you have two safeties at the top and you have a corner that's on the boundary. The corner's position is to cover an area, and the safeties is to get deep halves, meaning nothing over their head. What Tutu does by running off that defender in that corner is he gets the defender out of the way, he gets the safety to go back deep. So then if you have your primary target, let's say we have Carnell Tate, and he's running an in breaker, which is 10 yards, and then going right in, you've now taken the safety out of the picture, the corner out of the picture. All Carnell has to do is beat his one guy, and you freed it up. So again, I appreciate the all 22 because it shows me all of that. If I have a Jordan Tyson who's known for injuries, but he's showing me on film that he's running routes and I can't tell if he's the primary or not, that's a good thing. That means that he's running consistently. So I love Carnell because, yes, he had a cyborg unicorn in Jeremiah Smith, but he did produce. Yes, he had one bad game against us, and it didn't look good. Jacoby Thomas, there was a play in the third quarter where he met him in the middle and absolutely trapped him. Alligator armed it and everything. But what I did appreciate was his ability to come back from that and find opportunity when it wasn't there because we changed the way that game had to get structured. Now, again, Jeremiah Smith, when you have a receiver like that, you are responsible to get that man 10-plus targets a game. So Carnell Tate wasn't getting featured the way he would have because you have a cyborg. But if you check other games and you see what he's doing, and even when he's not getting the ball in that game against us, it looks good. Mekhi Lemon, I love him. I said this before the year started. He reminded me a lot of Amon-Ra. It wasn't because of their stature, and it wasn't because they went to the same school. It was because of how they both played. They had a grittiness and an attitude to them. They are secured route runners. They have vice grip for hands. They play with an edge. They turn into a running back when the ball's in their hands. With Jordan Tyson, he would be wide receiver one if he didn't have the injuries. He has soft tissue injury history and lower extremities, which don't bode well for a receiver. I hate that he isn't running his 40. I hate that he's not doing on-the-field drills. What I love about it is that might make that man drop down to number 30. I do love that because the talent is insane. The height, weight, speed, 6'2", 200 pounds. The ability to separate. The ability to run a variety of routes, the entire route tree, and to shine in an offense of Arizona State where you knew he was the only threat meant a lot to me. Elijah Surratt. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one. A lot. Because I don't have KC Concepcion on here. I don't have Chris Bell on here, who he would be number 6 for me. I don't have Omar Cooper Jr., who's number 7 for me. And I obviously did tell you I love the film. The reason I love Elijah Surratt is the same reason that I loved Keenan Allen coming out of Cal. He doesn't do anything sexy. He's not going to wow you with a 4.4 speed. He's not going to jump out of the gym. He is not going to be the guy that has 1,800 yards and 10 touchdowns. There's no flash to his game. But when you need a first down, when you need to move the chains, when you need a secured catch, when you need a play to happen, Elijah Surratt is the guy. I said this when I did my breakdown, and I wrote it down when I was scouting Justin Jefferson. You obviously knew who Jamar Chase was. We all did. Justin Jefferson, and I put this in my breakdown. I'll have to show it to you, Juan. I put, he's the guy that Joe looks for on third down and when he gets in trouble. Not Jamar Chase. It was Justin Jefferson. And I caught a lot of slack for that. I had Justin Jefferson as a top 10 player. The Vikings, there's that old video where the Vikings front office is laughing at the Eagles because they took, who did they take in front of him? Jahan Dotson? I think it was Jahan Dotson. Or maybe it was someone like that. But they took him in front of Justin Jefferson, and they took Justin Jefferson, and he's now arguably top 3 receiver in the entire league, right? There's a place for receivers like Elijah Surratt who run good routes, who block to get the rock, who are nuanced route runners, who are thicker framed. He was coined the nickname 24/7 because he's open all day. So I'm biased. Elijah Surratt is a player that I think has all the capability in the world. I think he's going to get underdrafted. And I think that we're going to hopefully be a team that looks at him. And then 5, I got Denzel Boston. Height, weight, speed, freak. Quarterback play is the reason why he's not higher. His quarterback was missing him left and right, whether it was a 10-yard in, whether it was a quick slant, whether it was a corner route in the end zone, whether it was a slot fade from the slot over into the end zone. It was terrible. I saw more balls thrown at his feet, more balls thrown in the wrong direction. But when the man was given opportunities, goodness gracious. And then on top of that, he also did kick and punt return. It was disgusting. The only issue with Denzel, lower extremity injuries, soft tissue stuff. So those are things that creep up, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the top 32, if not top 45. So that's my run through of my 5.
I got to ask you, Chad. So I'm listening intently, everything that you're saying, just digesting it. And I want to ask you a question that maybe somebody in the audience listening to this podcast would maybe have. So I know your take, the trenches. That's where we want to go, first round. Mm-hmm. Any name here where if we were to select them in the first round, you'll say, okay, this isn't where I thought we were going to go, but I'm very happy still that we got this guy.
At 11 or at 30 or at both?
Let's do both, 11 and 30.
At 11, if we take Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon, or Jordan Tyson, I get it. I wouldn't love it, but I get it. I would be happy because I believe in the players. My only issue is the drop-off from receiver, from Carnell Tate, my wide receiver 1, down to wide receiver 15 for me isn't so drastic as it is OT1, which is Francis Mauigoa, to even OT5, which we'll break that down and show it. So I would hate it only for the simple fact that if we passed on an offensive tackle that I believe would start his first year as a guard, when we could get a similarly ranked player like a Denzel Boston in round 2 and feel good about it. At 30, if we take Denzel Boston, I wouldn't hate it. But it's the same reason, but more so on the edge, because I think edges are going to go rapidly after the big 3, which let me preview for when we do our defensive breakdown. I don't have Arvell Reese as an edge. I have him as a linebacker. So Ruben Bain, David Bailey, and for me, Akeem Mesidor are the top 3. I know a lot of people have Zion Young, and they have Keldrick Falk, and they have TJ Parker. But once those guys are gone, I think the list dwindles again, where I think you can get a receiver like a Ted Hurst in round 3, and you're not going to see that big of a drop-off between a Ted Hurst and a Denzel Boston. So, yeah, I would not hate or I would not love if we took a receiver in round 1, but I would get it.
Gotcha. That's fair.
Yeah.
Now I noticed you didn't mention Elijah Surratt, but you did say that you expect him to be underdrafted.
Yep.
Where do you see Elijah Surratt dropping to? I've seen some mock drafts where he's going in the second round, and then some mock drafts have him in the third round.
Yeah. I think because of the dearth of receiver talent, and I shouldn't say dearth, because of the wealth of receiver talent, and you have all shapes and sizes, and the boards are all over the place, right? Like, we can't even get consensus on who wide receiver 1 is. I think Elijah Surratt is going to settle in the end of round 2 or the beginning of round 3. As a Dolphin fan, I pray that he ends up in round 3. I do. I believe in the ability. I think the issue is that he's not 6'4". He's not 220. He doesn't run on a sub 4.4. He doesn't have the pedigree of playing at a Bama or at a USC or at an LSU or at an Ohio State. And yes, I understand Omar Cooper Jr. is getting all of the love right now, but he has the splash plays. He has the end zone catch against Penn State where he gets a foot in miraculously up there. He does jump out of the gym. He did run a 4.4. Omar Cooper has those things, those intangibles, and those athletic attributes that you can't coach, which is why he's getting all the love. I know Steve Smith, I think Steve Smith Jr. or Sr., the Panthers' old receiver, has him literally as wide receiver 1. The dude is an absolute dog and an absolute ball player, but Elijah Surratt just does something for me, man, and I can't explain it. The only way I can explain it is when I was scouting Keenan Allen as a kid and watching him at Cal, I'm like, this is a first-round player. And he dropped down to the third round, and he's still playing today because of what he excelled in college, which was he ran great routes, and he's a hands catcher. There's no flash, there's no pizzazz. He just moved the chains, and that's what I think Elijah Surratt's going to do. So I would be absolutely shocked if he ends up in the first round. I'd be shocked if he's in the top 15 in round 2, because I think you're going to have people that have this list, but then they're going to add Casey Concepcion, they're going to add Omar Cooper Jr., they're going to add Jacoby Lane from USC. They're going to add Chris Bell from Louisville. They're going to have Ted Hurst higher. I think that there's just so much receiver talent that a guy like Elijah Surratt is getting forgotten. But funny enough, he kind of looks, plays, and acts like a Packers, 49ers type of receiver.
Yeah. And, you know, what I think, because I think people think, and I say this because I myself think this way, you don't want to get the wrong one. What I mean by that is it Omar Cooper? Is it Elijah Surratt? And I don't know if you've seen that meme. Why not both? It's happened before. Oh, right? So you go back to LSU, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham. Who's it? Doesn't matter. It's a safe pick. They both were hits. And Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase.
Yep.
They're both hits.
Yep.
Marvin Harrison or Jackson Nigba. They're both hits.
Yeah.
Cardinal Tate, Jeremiah Smith, most likely. They're both going to be hits. So the tape doesn't lie, guys. Like Chad mentioned, he doesn't just watch the highlight film. He watches everything. So, and we've been talking about this since September, since week 1. And Chad has remained consistent. Elijah Surratt is always a name that comes up. So very excited to see where he lands, and hopefully it's in a Miami Dolphin uniform.
Yeah, I love what you said because I think the audience is going to go to here. You said all these names, but there was a more dynamic player out of all those guys. You said Odell and Jarvis. Well, Odell was the first rounder. He was getting all the buzz. He was the more dynamic player. But Jarvis was steady. That's what Omar Cooper Jr. and Elijah Surratt remind of. You said Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. That one's a lot closer. I think right now people would say Jamar Chase is the better player, but you can't lose in that. I mean, there's Jaylen Waddle and Devonta Smith. There is, like you said, there's Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith. But before that, you have Marvin Harrison Jr. and you said Jackson Smith and Jigba. Right now, Jackson Smith and Jigba is arguably the best receiver in the league. Marvin hasn't hit his peak yet. But even before that, I mean, there's a multitude of players that we've seen come from the same school and done well. I go back to the year we took Ronnie Brown when Cadillac Williams was drafted. They both had good careers.
Yeah.
So for me, Elijah Surratt's the perfect balance of what we need because he's going to block. He is 6'2". He does have a frame that supports what we're wanting to do. He's a reliable route runner. Love his hands. I love him on third down. I love how he settles into the zone. I'm a big fan of his game. But I know people then be like, well, why isn't he wide receiver one? Well, because Cornell Tate's more dynamic. Mekhi Lemon's more dynamic with the ball. And I would be lying if I didn't say I have a bias towards what the Dolphins are typically looking for when I do these breakdowns naturally, because that happens. I will say once we get to defense, I have Akeem Mesidor as the third overall edge. That's not a popular opinion. It might be in the Hurricane and Dolphin fanhood because we love him, but he's a 25-year-old that in his second contract, he's going to be 30 years old. So it's not popular. It's just where I'm at. But I'm excited to go for it, man. Did you want me to pull up my breakdown?
Yeah, let's do it. I think the audience is going to love this.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to show.
I know the audience is going to love this.
Cool. Okay, so this is what I was super excited about. ChatGPT for the dub. So I do my breakdowns on my phone. Oh, yes, sir.
Wait. Did you say Chad GPT or Chat GPT?
I mean, ¿por qué no los dos? Why not both?
Hey.
Why not both? What I was super excited about with this one is I am a sicko, and I do my breakdowns on my phone and my notes as I'm watching. I'll put little notes and then watch the full season, and if I can go back to season prior, I'll finalize. As you can see on this, I do a player profile. The reason they say NA on some of those is because this is what they did at the Combine. I put what I love. I put what I dislike. I always put the favorite game that I watched, and then I put fit. I haven't quite ChatGPT'd it well enough because it has favorite game watched twice on here. So once I figure that out, and then team fits, spoiler alert, usually when I do breakdowns, it's because of players I want to be on the Dolphins. So you'll typically see the Dolphins there. I have a brief description, a round projection, and then a one-word line to describe them. So I'll just break it down. Carnell Tate, 6'2", 192. Those are official combine measurements. 4'5'3". So again, not an overly big blazer, but I do like the 161. Some of the things I love about him: crafty route runner, incredibly strong hands. What I appreciate that is he has elite sideline footwork, and what that means is you hear the toe drag swag, where you have the ability to get 2 feet in while dragging 1 foot. You hear Tommy Two Toes, where they're able to get both feet down. Just things that I appreciate. One of the best things I saw in watching his breakdown was his ability to show his late hands. What that means for you audience is when Carnell's running a route, he sees ball in the air and he's tracking. The quicker you get your hands out there, the easier it is for a DB to tell that the ball is coming, whether that's them reacting and putting their hand out, whether that is them speeding up or slowing down, depending on where they're at on the defender to get in the hip pocket. But if you have the ability to show your hands late, you're essentially making it so that a DB can't read, track, or know when the ball is coming. Carnell excels at this. Whether it's a 9 route over the top of the shoulder, whether he's running an in cut, whether he's running an outbreaker, whether he's running a comeback and he's stemming to 15. Stemming just means going to the top of 15 and then coming back to 12 to 10 and showing his hands. It's perfection. And Juan, you did say this because I'm not going to do the PowerPoint breakdown where I'm reading everything. He performed next to Jeremiah Smith. I give a plus in that category because when you have an absolute menace on the other side and you're able to perform, it's a good thing. People will say, oh, well, you better perform when you're getting the second DB or this or that. Well, the Belichick way was this. He put his top corner on wide receiver 2, and then his back or his number 2 corner and his safety double covered the first receiver. So there was a lot of film where Carnell Tate went against the Belichick-esque defense and was going against corner 1. His ability to demand targets and to be quarterback friendly is why Carnell Tate is as easy of an eval as it gets. Now, the things I didn't like, he's not a speed guy. So he's not going to run by anybody. He did struggle against top-tier competition, specifically against Miami. We had his number. We had him in jail. He can alligator arm every now and then when he's in a compromised position. What that means is when a defender's on him or within his frame, he's not willing to extend, and he can compromise the positioning of his hands and almost let it come into his body. I didn't like that. And then he isn't overly aggressive. And because of that and having a smaller frame, think of Devonta Smith, but a thicker player, but without the willingness to quote unquote be the dog, even though I see the dog in him. If you want to see what he can do, watch the Wisconsin tape. It is littered with everything you want. So my one line description, and then I want to hear your breakdown, Juan. It's a nuanced route technician with the ability to work back to the ball, making a quarterback look good. What that means is he's quarterback proof. He will do the things that are required because he was coached by Brian Hartline, and he knows what spot to be. He knows where to run the route. He knows how to beat a zone. He knows how to beat man. I project him to be in the top 10, and I would be shocked if he slips out of the top 10.
Gotcha. Now, I want to add to this because the one part that really stood out to me was struggled against top tier competition. And that was my thing. I don't have it written down the way that you do, which is such a beautiful breakdown. And audience, I'm sure you appreciate this too. Very well done, Chad. I absolutely love this. When I saw some of the teams that he struggled with, mind you, I didn't see the whole film the way that you did. So you're giving me the breakdown here, and I appreciate that, explaining the Bill Belichick way, having the top corner against him and then double covering opposite to him, Jeremiah Smith. The games that stood out to me, Texas, Illinois, Indiana, Miami, where I didn't see him ball out. Now, mind you, I believe it was the Texas game where Jeremiah Smith didn't show up either. So
correct.
That was just across the board. But the other games, if I'm not mistaken, Jeremiah Smith did shine. And I want to go back to something we were talking about earlier was Joe Burrow. Who was the guy that Joe Burrow looked for? Justin Jefferson, not Jamar Chase. I want to ask you, is Carnell Tate I don't want to say he's Jamar Chase, but he's still a baller. He's still that guy.
Yeah.
The guy in another team.
I think Julian Stain looked at them equally, but I think he force-fed Jeremiah Smith because you have to when you have that type of player. I think where Carnell Tate excelled was his ability to win deep, as opposed to Jeremiah Smith, where it was his ability to win short. I feel like Jeremiah Smith is Julio Jones reincarnated. And I think that with that offense about getting the ball out quick enough, that was the key. They also were trying to establish the run. You watch Julian Stain have to progress because this was his first year as the starter, right? So new system, new tools, new pieces. He had to do – you watch the progression is what I should say. And funny enough, the games that Jeremiah Smith did disappear, Carnell Tate shined. There was also games where Jeremiah Smith shined and Carnell Tate shined. I think the Indiana game in particular that you're mentioning, there were a couple plays where D'Angelo Pons, your guy, was on him, and there was a little bit of a struggle, but there was plenty of action that I appreciated in that game that showed Carnell Tate to be a good player. And I think that when you break it down, especially given the status of this class, if you're looking for the highest floor with a good size ceiling, for me, it's Carnell Tate.
Yeah, and audience, I just want to point out, if we look at the bullet points here, love, there are so many bullet points to love, and less than 4, do I got that right? Yeah, 4 dislikes.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, but also one of the things that you were going with was outside of what we saw in film, what was he doing when he didn't have the ball? Because we got Devon Achane. So the stats say one thing. So anybody going back and looking at the stats the way that I'm doing, well, Chad goes a little bit deeper. than that.
Yeah.
Aside from the stats, there's effort plays that aren't shown. You're not going to see in the stat
Yep.
sheet. So when you have somebody like Devon Achane, you want that guy that's going to continue running his route if the ball's not thrown him. That's going to block downfield for Devon Achane that runs that 4-2. So, Chad, thank you again, man. This is freaking awesome. I love it.
You got it, brother. Now let's go to your wide receiver one, who's my wide receiver two, and Mekhi Lemon, who I have a similar breakdown. Again, not the best format, but it's good enough that we'll allow the audience to kind of see what we're trying to do here. Let me know once you can see, my brother.
This is my guy, audience. And we got it front and center.
Yep. So I'm a huge Mekhi Lemon fan. The press conference, the combine interview did nothing to deter me from that. If anything, it just showed me that he's all ball. I know people are like, he was off the you-know-what, and he was this, and he was that. It came back that, again, he killed it in the interviews. So all that rumor of him not doing well and he's on this and he's on that, it literally came back and he was fine. Mekhi is all ball at all times. And when I say all ball, there's interviews that he did where literally he talked about, I can't even enjoy my birthday without talking ball. So you know what you're getting with him. Imagine, and I see the smile on your face, Juan. Imagine a Jarvis Landry, but a better athlete. So player profile, 5'11", 192. I haven't updated the numbers because I don't believe we have them yet. And if we did, it's from his pro day, and I didn't put those in. My favorite game watching of him was Illinois because he just did absolutely everything you could imagine. The things I love about Mekhi, his ability after the catch. The yak ability is crazy. I love the punt return ability, the kick return ability. Yes, he did both, and he did it very well. He's a zone menace. For those that don't know what zone is different than man because man means you have a guy. It's simple. Chad's covering Juan, I go everywhere Juan goes. In zone, the way that it plays is you're covering an area of the field. For receivers, that can create disruption if they don't know where to go. So with Mekhi, it's being able to read your quarterback as well. So him and Jordan Mailata, they did well at this, where they call them zone beaters, whether it's like a crossing route or you're running a dig or a choice route, which is quarterback receiver have to be on the same page. If the defender's on your inside shade, so inside of you, you have to break out and you have to expect your quarterback to know you're going to do that. Vice versa, if you're on the outside shade, it's going to be on the inside of the receiver. So what I love that Mekhi did so well was he was able to find the holes in a zone and get it moving. He's a lot different with Carnell Tate because this man is fearless across the middle. Let me make sure everybody heard that. Fearless. If you want to say he's off something, it's because he does not care. He plays like he is 6'4", 220. He's not. What I always, and I'm going to say this, his ability to get vertical off the line from catch to acceleration is insane. He's running a route, going across, this is against Illinois, runs a dig, which for those that don't know, you run 15 yards or 12 yards or 10, depending on where your landmark is, and you go directly in. Catches the ball and immediately is north and south. That is a gift. He turns into a running back. And I put this in my description, and I'll just read the little part. This feels like a run it back when I wrote up a Monroe's breakdown, that if Mekhi, so again, ChatGPT mumbled the words, but if he played for Alabama, LSU, or Ohio State, we're talking about a top 5 pick. If Mekhi Lemon was 6'2" and played for Bama, LSU, or Ohio State, he's a top 5 pick. The things to not like, because everyone's like, well, this sounds like a better breakdown than Carnell Tate, Chad. Why isn't he your wide receiver one? He's not a burner either. He is limited with his size and his height. He does lack top end speed, meaning that in and out of breaks, it doesn't always look the best. He is predominantly a slot player. He can play on the outside, but he's predominantly a slot player, but so is Amon Ra. He can have a concentration drop every now and then, and I'm saying that even though he has vice grip for hands. He gets to a place where the ball's coming in and he's already looking to go upfield because his acceleration is so quick that he gets his eyes off the ball and you'll see the drop. And then there is, of course, whenever you're this kind of player, when you have that bulldog in you, and if you give a bulldog a taste of some meat, he wants to keep going. That's Makai Lemon. He'll try to do a little bit too much, and he puts himself in a compromised position, like on a 3rd and 6, going across the middle, going up and getting absolutely sandwiched midair, coming down and getting hyped. But in the NFL, they're bigger, faster, stronger. You don't have a D2 player, a D1 AA player, a guy that's going to be an accountant hitting you anymore. You have Kyle Hamilton across the middle. You have a Buda Baker. You have a player that's going to literally put their entire body into yours and just wreak havoc. So my one, describe him, aggressiveness at the receiver position that makes you think he's playing running back. I think he's a fit for the Rams, Browns, obviously us, the Chiefs, the Jets, the Steelers, the Vikings, the Titans, and the 49ers. He's a great player. Again, super high floor. He's going to be a top 15 pick in my opinion unless there's a run on a position. But, yeah, he's awesome, man. Let me hear your breakdown of your wide receiver one.
Yeah, no, so I absolutely love this guy. You can't measure the dog in some of these players. And when you look at the film, as you so eloquently described him, he is fearless. There's times where I saw him going down the middle of the field where he knew he was going to get rocked, and he put his well-being to the side to make a play. That's all this guy cares about. That interview where you just said he can't go his birthday or have a good birthday without talking ball, that says everything to me. I love the breakdown. For anybody listening to this show and you see the dislike, it says not a burner, right? But then also says you were talking about his acceleration because he has that.
The top end speed.
So acceleration and burst is different from top end speed. And this guy has that acceleration where he catches the ball and he's going upfield. But I saw the same thing you saw, that concentration drops because he's trying to do too much now. Is it a thing where maybe at USC he was trying to make up for where the team lacked and he felt that he had to do more? Could be. Who knows? But I go back to, and the reason that I like this player so much is that I want a team full of dogs. Yeah. When I looked at the Seattle Seahawks, those guys were on a mission, man. You couldn't deter those guys from where they wanted to go. Even when the media tried to get on them, I forget the name of that defensive player where they were trying to talk trash about their quarterback. And his response was, F you. Yeah. That's our guy. Yep. I'm tired of throwing players under the bus. I'm tired of, remember Nick Saban making that offensive lineman cry, the bullying situation. I don't want to say that we had soft.
Jonathan Martin
from Stanford. It's not, I don't want to talk bad about these guys. Yeah. But football, it's a very, very, very difficult sport. It's hard. You could have the size, but if you don't have the heart and your brain isn't in it, your heart isn't in it, doesn't matter. You could have everything that you need, and this guy has that. And that's contagious. It is. When you have a player like that who's willing to sacrifice, it starts to pop up in other positions in the field. So I would not mind at all if this was our number 11 pick. I know the trenches. I know, but listen, the board, if they have him here, they requested the interview. If this is number 1 on their board, my thought is respect the board. If everybody else that you wanted is picked ahead of you in the first round, you have to go with what the board is saying. So, but yeah, I absolutely love Makai Lemon. There was a moment there after that interview where I was like, well, wait a second. But
all ball, baby.
Yeah, water. Yeah, that's
water under the bridge.
Yeah.
Juan, why don't you go ahead because yours is on one doc? Why don't you pull up your top at every position and then share that on that screen for us?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Chad, do you want to just do receivers and offensive tackles today? Because I feel like it's going to take, that way we could have multiple episodes this weekend. Yeah.
Do you want to do receivers and tight ends then? Since they're both, what's it called, positions, receiving positions?
I feel like tight end would be short and sweet. there's a name here I did not expect to be at number 2, which I do love, by the way, but let me go ahead and share my
I
screen
love it,
over
man.
here.
I love it. Yeah, I was gonna literally start off by saying that. So, uh, shocker alert for everybody. My tight end two is Sam Roush.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's a name right there.
yeah,
Let me see. Are you able to see
yes,
my
sir.
screen here? Okay,
Yes, sir.
awesome.
Yeah. So I'll break it down real quick. Everyone's tight end one is Kenyon Sadiq. He's awesome. I think obviously he's a freak of nature, and if we were further along, this is a player I would advocate for us to draft. Uh, Again, I know I sound like a broken record, but height, weight, speed, just does everything that you want. Can block his tail off. There were some maturity issues that reports came out of Oregon that he wasn't fully bought in. There was sometimes that workouts he wasn't doing it, but I mean, I'm sorry. I saw the athlete. I saw the performance at the combine. He looked pretty good to me. My shocker is Sam Roush, who a lot of pundits have as a third and fourth rounder. I just watch his game, and you're gonna think I'm crazy. He reminds me of George Kittle, man. The
I
dude
don't
is an
think you're crazy
absolute,
at all.
yeah,
I don't want to
yeah,
cut you off because you're breaking this
yeah,
down, but I'm with you,
bro,
Chad. You're not alone.
brother,
I'm with you.
the guy is a menace in the run game. You want to watch some like tail kicking performances? Go watch Sam Roush. He played in an NFL offense because remember Frank Wright was the interim coach to kind of get that Stanford system in place. And I saying that out loud, I just realized that Frank Wright's the offensive coordinator for the Jets, but we don't have to worry because they have Mason Taylor. So whew, I had to think about that for a second. But with Sam, there's so much untapped potential. That offense with Stanford, and I think it was Kyle Krabs, or forgive me if it was Chris Kaufman or one of those guys that were breaking it down. They said the Stanford Cardinals didn't realize that a forward pass is legal in college football because they couldn't throw the ball. Sam Roush was not able to get highlighted, and I promise you, his game is translatable. I'm excited to say my breakdown of Sam Roush because he gets me all excited inside in ways that a man shouldn't get me excited inside. Just love the film, brother. I love it. Dude, he's awesome. Sam Delp, or I think they actually got that wrong. It's Oscar Delp. So forgive the translation from ChatGPT into this. But Oscar Delp, the tight end from Georgia, another guy that was at the demise of bad quarterback play. It's simply put, he wasn't targeted in the way that he should have been, would have been much better. You saw what he did in the combine and his pro day, and it's just again special talent with athletic ability that translates. Eli Sowers, which again, I'm wondering, I'm starting to think that maybe ChatGPT isn't for the win, Juan, because it is just killing me, bro, with my stuff. But Eli Sowers, what I loved about his film was and you and I talked about it. He was Vanderbilt's offense. Plain and simple. He is a big tight end, a big flex tight end that plays like a forward in basketball, boxing players out, running routes, trailing Diego Pavia. Like he is that type of player. Where you miss on him is in the run game. It's not pretty. It's not at all. But he wasn't asked to do it a lot. So is that a player that can grow into his frame and add on an extra 20 pounds and not lose athleticism? Maybe. We don't know. And then Dalen Bentley from Utah, again, a multifaceted, kick your tail in the run game tight end that has receiving ability, but again, was on a Utah offense that predominantly ran the football. He has NFL pedigree coaching coming from Utah and playing on that offensive line next to a Spencer Fano or a Caleb Lomu, whether he was up on the left or on the right side when he was attached. He is a wide tight end, which again, we can run so much through him and run 12 and 13 personnel, which is one running back, two tight ends. First number is the running back. Second number is the tight ends. So 12 would be one running back, two tight ends. 13 would be one running back, three tight ends. It's a Packers staple, which I'm so excited for us to bring. So you get a Dalen Bentley, a Sam Roush, or a Kenyon Sadiq with a Greg Dulcich, and you don't know who's blocking and who's running. running out, and it's exciting because you have a Devon Achane that you can do that with. But again, Dalen Bentley, I am very, very high on him. So my top tight ends are much different. You don't see Justin Ollie. It's not because I don't love him. I think he's great. I just think that for what the Dolphins need and for what I like in my tight ends, these are the guys. These aren't going to be the fantasy guys. Kenyon Sadiq might, Eli Stowers might, but these are not the guys that are going to be 1,200 yards, 1,000 yards, 60-plus catches and 10 touchdowns, but they could have 500 yards, 40 catches, 6 or 8 touchdowns, and just be absolute maulers in the run game.
Gotcha. I appreciate that breakdown. For me, it was Sam Roush and then everybody else. I know I said Sadiq initially, but that's really the only name that's being talked about for the first 2 rounds that I've seen. I think maybe in one mock draft I saw Eli Stowers there, but I want to hear your take on this, Chad. I got Sam Roush 4th round. Do you think there is a world where he gets picked in the 3rd? Because that's ideally where I want the Dolphins to pick him. That's the tight end that I want.
Yeah, I love the question. I do think he will end up in the 3rd round because I think we're going to pick him in the 3rd round. We have 4th, 3rd rounders. I think he's going to be a Dolphin. I know I sound crazy with saying this, but like if you think about it, the tight end class as a whole, it's all over. Again, you have Kenyon Sadiq. You have Oscar Delp. You have Justin Jolie. You have Eli Stowers. You have Max Clare. You have Michael Triv. You have Eli Raridon. You have Dalen Bentley. You have Joy Royer. You have Tanner Kozel. You have Sam Roush. The only one that's going to be a 1st rounder is Kenyon Sadiq. Eli Stowers, like I said, or Oscar Delp or Justin Jolie could sneak into the 2nd round. But because you have so much out there, I think that Sam is an easy 3rd or 4th rounder. I think what works in our favor is there's going to be players or teams that fall in love with Justin Jolie because that's what they're looking for. They're not looking for a traditional wide tight end. There's going to be teams that fall in love with Eli Stowers. I don't think that's a player that we're going to fall in love with. And then even Michael Trigg. I know he didn't jump well today, but it's because he had a strained hamstring. I don't believe he has a 27-inch vertical. That sounds crazy. And then Max Clare, an Ohio State player that I think because of the targets with Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, and even Brandon Ennis, that he didn't get the love that he should have. So I think that's another player that's going to get drafted higher. But I do believe that we will draft him in the 3rd round because we have 4 of them, and I don't think we want to take that chance.
How can you not get excited? I mean, just the thought of having a Sam Roush wearing that Miami Dolphin uniform, being able to block downfield for Devon Achane or Malik Willis when he's scrambling, adding that extra protection for our quarterback. And that is one player that I want. I'm hoping that it's in the 4th round.
Yeah.
But if we get him in the 3rd round, I'm not going to be upset at all. That's a player I'm excited about.
Yeah. It's funny. Before we jump on, I want to say, because there's receivers that we didn't talk about. And again, we could do an entire show on receivers because we still didn't talk about Chris Brazzell, who I'm a big fan of. I know people don't like Tennessee receivers. You have Jeremy Bernard from Bama, who I absolutely love. You have Skylar Bell. You have Antonio Williams. You have Zachariah Branch from Georgia. You have Bryce Lance, who's become a big favorite of Dolphin fans. Which is Trey Lance's brother, and then obviously our guy CJ Daniels, who shout out to CJ Daniels, 4.4740, baby. Let's just make sure that he stays on day 3. We can't have him going 3rd round. We need him to be a late guy for us. But just wanted to get those names out there, and that's also not including Brennan Thompson, who ended up running the fastest 40, which if you were a subscriber of this podcast, you would have known that before the combine started.
All good stuff. That's why you guys have to subscribe. Don't just watch this video and not subscribe. Subscribe. More great content. This is going to be the first of at least, let's give it a range, 5 to 7. We're going to give a full breakdown here, guys. We're even going to go punter and kicker. Okay? You guys are going to get everything. We're not leaving anything out. So if they ask you, the receivers, guys, we did the homework for you. We gave a full breakdown. You guys know the names now. Talk about tight end. Well, there isn't a big list, but Sam Roush, that's the name you want to remember. Forget about everybody else. All right?
I love it. Brother, I love it. I love it. There are tight ends. Juan knows, and we're excited about it. We're such big Sam Roush guys that I think it'll be a gut punch if he doesn't end up with us. But again, the same way that there's so many receivers, because, bro, I didn't bring up Deion Burks or Malachi Fields or Josh Cameron or Jordan Hudson. Like, there's just, goodness gracious. If we don't leave this draft one with 2 wide receivers, we did something very wrong. And I think that's why Sully was so willing to part with Jaylen Waddle, because we may not get another Jaylen Waddle, but we're going to get a stronger, more expansive room that fits with what we're trying to do. And there's going to be a learning curve, but we've now extended the rebuild to with 4 additional years on top of that before we have to pay these guys. So we watched this Packers team literally draft a Romeo Dobbs. They drafted a Matthew Golden. They drafted, who am I forgetting on that roster? We've said their names. Davion Williams. They drafted
Recent or throughout?
No, I mean just the last 2-3 years.
Okay.
I can't remember. He was out and then came back, and it's going to escape me, and I'm going to just be so upset that I forgot, but it's okay. And then this is the same team that drafted Tucker Kraft and then also drafted before him, which, again, I can't think of his name, but this is a front office that is more than willing to take multiple skill players on days 2 and 3 and double dip at the position, especially when there's depth.
Very exciting stuff.
Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed. Gosh, that was going to drive me insane, bro.
It was there.
It was there. What were you going to say, brother? Awesome. I'm sorry.
No, I want to make sure we're not leaving anything out. I think we covered everything. There's so many receivers, like you mentioned, to your point.
Yeah.
But focusing on the top 5, if we get any one of those names, I am going to be very excited, as should anybody listening to this podcast. That was a full, thorough breakdown. And these are players that we need in a Miami Dolphin uniform. The trenches are coming up big. That's coming up next, and that's going to be big. So
can I ask you something, Juan?
Yeah, please.
As we close, 5 wide receivers, not your top 5 wide receivers that you want to be a Fin, 2 receivers that you think will be a Dolphin.
Not in the top 5.
Doesn't have to be in your top 5. You can name anyone. I mean, if you want to, I know you're going to name Mekhi Lemon, but like 5 wide receivers, 2 that you think are going to be Dolphins.
Let me go outside of the top 5. Give some names here, because we talked about the top 5. I like a name that you mentioned there, Skylar Bell from UConn. Okay. I really like his game, along with Ted Hurst. These guys played in smaller schools. What stood out to me was how they played when they played against tougher competition. Skylar Bell, he balled out. I saw the game versus Syracuse, and Syracuse, they're not world beaters. I mean, these guys aren't the Miami Hurricanes, but when they go against a team like UConn, it's just the size comparison. It's a lot different. And Skylar Bell balled out. That's one guy where I'm really liking his game. Ted Hurst, another guy I really like the way that he performed. If not for the injuries, but even then, I mean, he played for Georgia Southern. So, I mean, the guy
had a 30 visit with the Dolphins too.
That's a name there. CJ Daniels, obviously Miami Hurricane fan over here. I like him. I like him a lot, but in the later rounds, I would not get him 3rd or 4th, and in the 5th, I'm reserving that for our boy Farmer, which we'll talk about when we highlight our top 5 guards. But CJ Daniels, that's another name I really like. Jacoby Lane, big, tall, lanky, like his game, high points the ball. Kai Lemon got all the shine on the team, but he's a very good player. Another one that I really do like. And last one, and he's falling on my list, right? Casey Concepcion. It's just, when I started because I try to find things that I do not like. When I see so many things that I like, there has to be something that I don't agree with. And when I'm seeing the TikTok videos and him dancing and all of this, I'm like, okay, well, that's not what we want. But in the film, he does more than just play receiver. He's a kick returner, punt returner. So,
Yep.
the film doesn't lie, and I like him, but not enough to go day one or day two for him. But I would say that will be my top 5 outside
of your top 5. Yeah, I love names. I'll throw in some other ones. Chris Brazzell, the second from Tennessee. Again, height, weight, speed freak. I know people are going to be scared of the Dante Thornton comparisons and the Cordell Patterson comparisons because Tennessee receivers, but don't scout the helmet. Scout the film. The film is good. Jeremy Bernard, he could creep into back end of first, early second. He performed on that Alabama team, and he did well. I'm a huge Jacoby Lane fan. I love his game. He reminds me a lot of Brian Thomas Jr., who played at LSU, who I was a lot higher on. I don't think he's going to be a first rounder. I think he's going to be the back half of second round or early third. Big fan of Bryce Lance. He played obviously at North Dakota State, where his brother Trey played at. Again, a bigger receiver. You're going to hear a trend here. 6'2", I believe, 205, 4'4" guy. Played well at a lower division, but remember that lower division is a division that has won national championships at that level. So I appreciate it. And then again, you said CJ Daniels. I know Dolphin fans are affiliated or infinity. They love Malachi Fields. Big Malachi Fields guys. He's a good player. I have probably a little bit of Notre Dame, like want to elbow Notre Dame people. So I'll go with my boy Josh Cameron, who I brought up in a mock draft that we ended up taking him in round 5. He is a bigger Debo. And when he grabs the ball and he is going across the middle, he's looking for contact. So he's a player from Baylor that I think is an incredibly safe floor that I think will surprise some people. So those are mine. I think if I had to guess who's going to end up being a Dolphin, I think CJ Daniels would be because of his connection with our quarterback. And again, I if I had to guess for like a round 3 player, I think that a Ted Hurst, because he had a 30 visit, could be the other option.
Gotcha. Or Elijah Surratt. Who knows if he falls?
Oh, dude, my heart.
3rd round.
I would love it. I would love it.
Know. Guys, this is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. I think the bad news is past us at this point. Every podcast is just going to be much more exciting. One day closer till we get to that draft. Guys, keep listening to great content. We'll keep looking at the film for you, bringing those breakdowns, giving you names that you haven't heard of before. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment and subscribe. But as always, guys, this is FinsUpTalk for the fans, by the fans, to the fans. We love you. Jesus loves you. And as always, fins up, guys.
Fins up.